Just a quick video today. I decided to get my front hubs on the Red 124 project ready for the installation of the new bearings. Unfortunately, they haven't arrived yet. They seem to be lost in postage or just taking a bit longer than expected. But nonetheless, let's get started on getting these hubs ready. Now, I understand this isn't the correct method. There is a proper tool you can use to rip this rear radial seal out, but this has always worked for me, and if you're careful you don't damage the housing itself. What I do is peel up the inside of the seal ring, and then once it's up I bash it in with a screwdriver or a chisel, and that actually shrinks the size of it so you can easily remove it. Just in the process here of deforming the seal enough so that I can shrink it. Now, I'm doing this on a plastic table for your benefit. The other side I did on the ground. It took all of 30 seconds for this process, so this is needlessly more difficult because I'm doing it on a plastic table. And this is the finale for this seal. It basically just explodes out. Unfortunately, it missed my red car by about 1 foot, so I don't recommend doing that unless you're a bit more careful than me. And then it was just a case of cleaning out all of this disgusting grease, and I need to get the inner and outer bearing races removed. One of them is a lot easier than the other. I don't actually have a race pulling tool. I don't have time to get one. I could have bought one today, but unfortunately I have to go to a wedding, so I can't even get my hands dirty. Now, this inner race is the one that really requires a race pulling tool. The outer one, which is smaller, is quite easy to remove. All you need to do is have a suitable mandrel and either press it or bash it out. I decided to go with a pressing method. I had this cheapo mandrel set I purchased from eBay for about $30 back in the day. Today is the first time I've actually had a use for it, so it's good to see some use for this stuff that I buy occasionally. I did end up using a socket underneath it because the mandrel was not able to go deep enough. With the socket you can remove that race in one continuous motion without having to reposition anything, as long as you've got enough room underneath the hub for the race to fall out the bottom. That's the reason I'm using 2 bits of cast iron under the hub, so that there is room for that race to fall out. Otherwise it bottoms out and you can't get it out. And there you have it, that race is completely removed. As easy as that. Obviously not everyone has a press, but really I didn't even use the handle on the press. I was only using my 2 fingers. So it's really not that hard to push it out. You could probably do it with some kind of clamping arrangement. Now it's time to get that inner race out. Because I'm in a bit of a rush and I didn't want to wait to buy the tool, I decided to just use the most unprofessional hammer and screwdriver method. As long as you're careful, you don't really damage anything. There is the risk of getting burrs on the inside where the race seats. I will be sure to sand those out before I install the new bearings, so that's not going to be a problem. They're less than like 1/10 of a millimeter in size, so realistically they're not much of an issue. And with a Dremel, they'll be gone anyway. I then took the hubs inside and gave them a caustic bath. I scrubbed them clean. There's not really much point painting these because they're never going to be seen anyway, and I wouldn't want to get paint on the impulse ring for the ABS because I don't know what the consequences of that would be. It seems to have some kind of coating from the factory anyway that I don't know if it's paint or not, but it's not coming off whatever it is. And there is some green paint on there as well from the factory, so let's keep it original. I did clean out those ABS impulse rings. I used a toothbrush just to make sure they're nice and clean. Hopefully I have the bearings to fit next weekend.